Right. Let's see. Where should we start? I guess we'll start with the first thing you did, the hammer-on pull-off or the legato thing. So, you may have already looked at the attachments I sent. So you might be wondering, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this giant-ass thing? So that was not going to be a speed drill. Kind of just want to try something a little different. And the more I learn about working with people, working with students, is sometimes a more volume type approach might be the way to go for certain things. Some people need that more than others, so it seems. Because some people, they just have a terrible time with the metronome practice when it turns out that they're actually just playing shit wrong when they're increasing the speeds and they don't realize they're making mistakes. I don't think that's really the case for you. You actually know when you're making a mistake, which is awesome. That is a good thing to know. So, you can call this like a really short etude, basically a practice song. The tempo on this is set at 120. It's too big to have up on the screen and be visible along with me playing it. But basically what you're doing, like the first 4 bars, kind of like sets the path. So once you play those 4 bars, you move everything down an octave. So actually, let me get this on screen here. I'll have to take myself out of the picture, but hang on. I want this. Yeah, I guess that'll work. Alright. Actually, let me do one other thing. Yeah, let's go with this view instead. Okay. So, these 4 bars here, you're going to take the same notes and you move it down an octave. Here, so it's the same notes, same finger pattern, just move down an octave. And then you do that again. Just take the same notes and move down an octave. Now, the ascending pattern, so basically what I mean by that, like first you play your notes here, you see that first note, you got a C note, and then you descend, you go down a note in scale, and you start on B, then you go down a note. At the next bar, you start on A, and then you go down another note, you start on G for that part. So, when you get down here, after you move things down 2 octaves, and you just finish doing the descending, well, the final descend bar, is also the start of the ascend bar. So you went down, I'm just going to say the root note, or the first note that starts each of these bars here. So you got C. Damn, I think he's moving, but I don't want it to move. You get C, B, A, G, and then from here you got the G, A, B, C, and then you do the same thing here. You're just moving up an octave. G, A, B, C. Move that up an octave. G, A, B, and then C. So that's important to understand, because what I want you to do, basically the first step is to actually be able to play this whole thing start to finish as written at 120. Once you can do that, I want you to repeat as much as you possibly can. So, what I mean by that is, like, once you get up to the top, or the end of this thing, treat this like the start of, like, this is bar number 1. So once you get up to the top here, then you start working your way back down. So basically, like, say I'm repeating, I forgot I didn't even have this up here. So once you reach this bar and you're able to do a repeat, basically you go from here and then here. So you're basically, like, you're skipping that first bar, because the first bar is the same as the last bar, right? So maybe a demonstration will make more sense here. So let's say I'm gonna whip through this real quick. Well, let's say I'm on the ascending, like I'm near the end of it, right? Here's the final bar. And then I just started repeating it, working my way back down. So, let's see. I'll run through to 120, just as it's written, and then I'll play it twice through, just so you can hear what it's like with the repeat. Hopefully I don't blow it. One of the challenges on this is going to be maintaining a long period of playing without goofing it. So just do the best you can. Let's see what we got here. Apparently I'm not going to do so well. That wasn't right. Maybe I should look at the screen. I should know where to go, though. Anyway, here we go. Take 2. Okay, so that's what it is at the 120, just as written. So I'm going to do it again, but this time play it 2 times through, and so you can hear what it sounds like when you actually do a repeat. So that obviously takes quite a bit of time there. So if you can't do 2 whole times through, you know, that's not a big deal. It definitely worked up to at least 1 time through. Things you can do to help with this is just start with like the first 4 bars, because that's the pattern right there. And if you can't play that at 120 right away, work it up, work that one up, and then you should be able to do the others. But you can separate it, like just work on hitting the 1 line first, and then work on the next, not the 1 line, work on the first 4 bars first, make sure you can do that, and then you can work on second 4 bars, and so on. So break it down into as many pieces as you need to, but again, the goal is to be able to play through it at least once at 120 nonstop. Okay. Number 2. Kind of more of the same here. just let's see if you're able to break. I think it was 175. You said. Let's see if you can get past the 175 with this week. And yeah, so let's play this. What in the hell am I doing? Let me move. Hang on. There we go. Let's move that over a little bit too. There we go. All right. Get to watch the cat take a bath while I play the exercise. All right, 120. 160. 200. And the goal speed 240. Ugh. Well, that's a good sign for you, isn't it? If I screw it up, what's that gonna mean? For you, you're gonna do better than me, right? That's exactly what it means. Okay. So, excellent job on the speed with reverse gallops. And I think that we don't have to do anything like that right now. You're good. You know how to practice speed picking. So anything that you're having trouble with, you know what to do now. If for some reason you think you don't know what to do, ask me. But I think we are ready to move on from that. So now that you have the ability, use it. Keep using it. I think you're doing fine taking the Iced Earth stuff and applying it to that. So you know what to do. Stick with it. Don't just leave it alone. But for us, you and me, we're moving on from that. You're good there. Now, one thing I do have some concern with there still is it looks like you're still doing an upward slant while you're doing your palm muting instead of rotating your arm this way to get a thicker, chunkier palm mute. Because I know we've talked about the whole playing fast. In order to play as fast as you can, you have to have that upward slant like this. However, it's limiting to always be in this position. You need to be able to rotate your hand, rotate your arm this way, and play like this too. Especially if you're doing like strummy type stuff, you're not going to have your hand resting on the guitar's body like that. So you gotta eventually get to the stuff like this too. So you got the speed now. And you can do palm mute stuff like this, but in fact, palm mute things like this as fast as possible, you do have to be that upper slant. But, like, listen to this. Versus it's subtle. Like, to me, this sounds a little bit bassier than this. It's a little more choked off this way. That's definitely choked off. So, I'm gonna have you work on palm mute accents now. So basically, now watch my hand when I'm doing this. There's no anchor point anymore. I'm not doing this. That would slow you way down for something like this and sound like shit. So your hand has got to be no more anchor on this part of the hand. Take it off. It can't be on there. If you're gonna anchor anything, anchor the pinky. I don't even know if I anchor on something like this. I guess when I hit the palm mute, my pinky is anchoring. So, basically, again, ridge hand, right? Think of it that way. Also think of it like you're holding water in your hand. Holding some water in your hand, and you're going to put that on the guitar now. Now, of course, that's quite far away. The pick's far away from the guitar now. So do this. You take your hand, hold some water, bring it up to the strings, have your hand connecting very close to the bridge. Not past it, but pretty close. You don't want to have be too far away this way either, because no. It's very subtle. It's just a nice, you should have the strings ringing out for a bit. Like this sounds too cut off here. Your hand's too far away from the bridge. If I do this, well, now my hand's on the bridge and not on the strings themselves. That's where you want it. So just where the strings are connecting onto the bridge, or into the bridge. Anyway, so you hold your water. Side of your hand on the strings. And then just rotate your arm like this. So do that with your arm. Try and keep the elbow still. And just take your hand from this position to that position. That's basically all you're doing. You go from here and rotating your hand, or rotating your arm so that your hand gets closer, or moves the pick closer to the strings. So again, hold your water. Side of the hand on the strings. Now, rotate your arm until the pick makes contact with the strings. Alright, so you're going to be taking your hand far enough away here, and again, you can keep your pinky down as an anchor point, that's fine. Always gotta look behind me to make sure I don't run a cat over. So I'm going to play it like this here, a bit closer. In fact, let me do it this way so you really see my hand. See how that looks? See how the butt of the pick is pointing down? You can see it better with this pick. So the butt of the pick's pointing down, and then the point of the pick is pointing up. And then you got Eddie over there kind of doing a weird wink at you. Hey, hey, hey. Alright, anyway. So, eighth notes for this. It's all down strokes. All down strokes. So you might find yourself getting tired on this one sooner than you would expect. Okay, so when it's not palm muted, make sure you get your hand away from those strings and have an obvious non-mute. So you really want to make sure you're going back and forth between them. So you want obviously not muted and obviously muted going between the two. Obviously. Alright, here we go. Starting at 60, and this is a speed drill. So here we go. Alright, 120. And it really is easy for me, especially at that pace, to really get my hand away from the guitar. Watch again here. Let's see. See how I'm flying away like that? It's almost like I'm rotating into that upward slant at that point. So I'm not saying you have to do that, but just when I'm doing it, that helps. So maybe that would help. Anyway, here it is again. 120. $160. 200, and this is where it's definitely going to start getting tough. Because remember, the 200 with all downstrokes is the same as, okay, 200 with eighth notes, all downstrokes. Is actually harder, or can be harder. Well, it's really the same thing as doing the 16th notes of 200 and getting down, up, down, up. But here, all downstrokes, you're just making sure that you don't hit the strings when you come back up to get ready for the next downstroke. I hope that makes sense. Can I even do 240? I know I can pick. I can alternate pick 240. But eighth notes all downstrokes? Well, let's find out. Oh man, that's a bitch. That wasn't very good. I had quite the guitar face on that one too. Let's see if I look as dumb as I just did. Oh man. I definitely can't keep that going very long. That's very difficult. Just keep that in mind when you're working this one up. So if you, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to set a goal in and have you feel like you can ease off the gas. Just get as fast as you can. Get as fast as you can. There's definitely not a real goal speed on this one, or a speed goal, whatever, because, well, it's all downstrokes. So, let's see. The other thing you did, you got the 3-note coil, all alternate picked, so that's good. And same thing with the B Locrian shape, that looked right. And you are correct when you do the C Ionian shape. When you start the descending portion, it will be a downstroke instead of the upstroke. And makes sense because you have one less note in that scale shape, so everything will be picked opposite. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're starting with the downstroke, but you know, when you were playing the, oh my goodness, when you played the B shape, you know, the B note was a downstroke and the C note was an upstroke, D note was a downstroke, and so on. But now you're starting with the C, the C will be a downstroke, the D will be an upstroke, and anyway, I hope that makes sense. Well, sir, as always, if you've got questions, let me know, and I will see you on Friday.